Hello everyone. I'm Bubbles from Susan's family. Today, I will share you the Four Seasons Cardigan, Spring Style. The electronic tutorial can be viewed by searching website susud.com. This cardigan consists of the front body, the back body, the sleeves, the assembly, the collar, the hem, the front band, and the decorations. First, work the front and back bodies. Then work the sleeves and join them. After that, work the collar, the hem, and the front band. Finally, work the decorations and sew them on. Start with working the back body. Consists of motif 1, motif 2, and motif 3. Let's start with learning how to work motif 1. Except for the first motif 1, which needs to be work completed. For the following motif 1s, need to join them with the adjacent motifs as we go. All motifs cast on one adjustable magic ring. Work in rounds following the magic ring. The stitches used include chain, single crochet, double crochet, and half double crochet. Now, let's show. For clarity, I'll be using a different color yarn for this demonstration. For specific yarn, color scheme, and hook sizes, please refer to the product's detail page and the paper diagram. Start with a double magic ring. After that, make 3 beginning chains to start. Treat this beginning chain as 1 double crochet. Then, work 2 double crochets into the magic ring. We consider this beginning chain and the 2 double crochets as 1 leaf. Since it starts with a beginning chain, the working method is quite unique. Next, work 3 chains. And then work the second leaf, which is 3 double crochets. After that, work 3 chains. Then, work the third leaf. Continue following the diagram, completing this round. After finish the last leaf, work 1 chain more, and then close the loop. Finally, pick up the top of the beginning chain and work a half double crochet to join. Insert the hook under the top 2 strands. The first round finished. Continue to work the second round. Start by making 3 beginning chains. Then, work 2 double crochets in the large space of this half double crochet. In this way, the first leaf is completed. After finishing, work 1 chain. Work 2 leaves in the next space, with 3 chains between them. After completion, work 1 chain. Continue following the diagram to complete this round. After finishing the last leaf, work another chain as previous. Then, pick up the 2 strands above a beginning chain. Work a half double crochet to join. Now the second round is also completed. Continue with the third round. Start by working 1 leaf. Note that the first leaf is working the same as before. After completion, work 1 chain. Work 1 leaf in the next chain space. Continue 1 chain. Work 2 leaves in the next chain space, with 3 chains between them. Treat the 2 leaves and the 3 chains in the same space as 1 corner. Treat 1 leaf and the chain on either side as 1 edge. Continue working following the method of edges and corners. Finally, join with a half double crochet. This one and the initial leaf make up a corner. The third round is completed. The rest rounds work as the same as the third round. Work corners at the positions of the corners, and increase leaves at the positions of the edges. Later on, you can work according to the method learned previously, referring to the diagram. After finishing the last leaf of the final round, work 3 chains. Then slip stitch to the beginning chain. Pull tight. Leave a tail and break yarn. Weave in the ends on the wrong side. Also weave in the beginning tail on the wrong side. You can weave in a bit more of the beginning tail before cutting it off. Now, I have finished the complete motif 1. Now, let's work the second motif 1. First, refer to the diagram, and use the method learned previously, to work up to the round before the last. Here, I have already finished it. Now, let's work the last round. During this round, you need to join it with the adjacent motifs as we go. Start by making 3 beginning chains. Then, work 2 double crochets into the chain space below. Continue working the edge and the corner. Completed the second edge. After the second edge is done, working the corner. This corner needs to be joined with the adjacent motif 1 during working. First, work a leaf. Then, work a chain. Next, take out the adjacent motif, with the wrong sides facing each other. Insert the hook into the corner space. Work a single crochet. Then, work another chain, and finishing this corner. Then work the edge. Start with the corresponding chain space of the adjacent motif. Work a single crochet to join. Then, work a leaf in the adjacent chain space. Continue by working a single crochet to join with the adjacent motif. Follow this method to work and join along the edge. Completed this edge. After finishing this edge, proceed to work the corner. First, work a leaf in the chain space at the corner. Then, work a chain. Next, in the corresponding chain space of the adjacent motif, work a single crochet to join. Completed this corner. Let's take a look. The joining is done by working a single crochet in the corresponding position of the adjacent motif. Follow this method for all subsequent joins. Now, refer to the diagram, complete this motif. Finally, make a slip stitch to join. After finishing, leave a bit of tail and break yarn. Weave in the ends on the wrong side to finish. Now the second motif is completed. Next, you can continue in this method, working and joining simultaneously. In the process, you will encounter the motif, which you need to join the corner twice, along with 2 edges and join 2 sides. Now, I will demonstrate the method. Here, I have already worked the previous section in advance, and have joined 1 edge. After working 1 leaf of this corner, work a chain stitch. First with the adjacent motif, chain stitch hole from the previous row. Join once. And then join again with the chain stitch hole of the adjacent motif. After joining, complete working this corner. This edge also needs to be joined. Finally, join this corner as well. End with a slip stitch. Then, leave a bit of yarn tail and break yarn. Later on, you should refer to the diagram, working and joining, all the remaining motif 1. This concludes the working and joining of motif 1. Next, let's learn how to work motif 2. It also cast on one adjustable magic ring. First, follow the magic ring. After completing the corresponding rounds, work back and forth. The new stitch technique used includes DC2 together. Now, let's show. You should refer to the diagram for the first 2 rounds, and continue working to the 4th side of the 3rd round. I have already worked it here. Then, in the space of the beginning, work a leaf. Then work 2 chains. Finally, join with a single crochet to the beginning chain. The 3rd round completed. Next, let's work the 4th round. Make 3 beginning chains. Then, referring to the diagram, work the edges and corners. After completing the last edge, work a leaf in the chain space of the beginning. Three chains. Then work 2 double crochets. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the beginning chain. Tighten. The 4th round completed. Next, let's work the 5th row. First, make a slip stitch in the chain space on the left. This slip stitch is oval shaped, indicating not to tighten. Make 3 beginning chains. Turn the work. Then, work a double crochet in the top of the base beginning chain. Pick up about 1-2 strands to work. Then, continue working the edges and corners. Work until the 3rd side is completed. After that, work 4 double crochets in this chain space of corner. The 5th row is completed. Next, let's work the 6th row. Make 3 beginning chains. Turn the work. Then, in the base last double crochet, Work a double crochet. Note: after turning, the stitches are positioned on the upper left. Then, continue working the edges and corners until the corner that started from the 5th row is completed. Note: the next two sides need to be joined with the adjacent motifs as you go. Here, I'll demonstrate with a small sample, only joining one side. Continue to work the remaining part. After finishing, work a chain stitch, then work a DC2 together. First, on the next 2 double crochets, work an incomplete double crochet on each. Then, yarn over and pull it through all the loops on the hook. DC2 together is completed. The 6th row completed. Leave a bit of tail and break yarn. Weave in the ends on the wrong side. This completes the motif toe. Now, let's learn how to work the motif third. It also cast on one adjustable magic ring. Follow the magic ring. The method for the first 4 rounds is the same as the motif one. You can refer to the diagram and work accordingly. Now, I will demonstrate how to work the last 2 rows. Start by making 3 beginning chains. Turn your work. Next, refer to the diagram. Then, you need to work a double crochet and a treble crochet together. First, work an incomplete double crochet into the base double crochet. Then, work an incomplete treble crochet into the base chain space. Finally, yarn over and pull it through all the loops on the hook. This completes the double crochet and treble crochet together. The 5th row is finished. Now, let's work the 6th row. Start by making 2 beginning chains. Turn your work. Next, work a double crochet into the base next stitch. Continue working referring to the diagram. Note that the corners and edges need to be joined as you work. Finally, work DC2 in 1, in the base beginning chain. That is, work 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Then, join with a slip stitch. In the beginning chain of the adjacent motifs. Leave a tail and break the yarn. Weave in the ends on the wrong side to finish. Thus, the motif 3 is completed. Next, you can complete the last motif 1 and join this. This completes the back body. Now, let's learn how to work the front body. It's include the left front body and the right front body. Here, distinguish the left and right based on wearing. Let's start with working the right front body. Consisting of the corresponding number of motif 4. And motif 5. And motif 1. The motif 1 of the front body includes a color changing motif, will be explained later when we encounter them. First, work motif 4 and motif 5. Later, when working motif 1, we will join it with these. Now, let's learn how to work motif 4. It also cast on one adjustable magic ring. Work follow the magic ring. The new stitch technique used is DC3 together in 1. Now, let's watch the demonstration. Then, work 8 single crochets into the magic ring. After completing, tighten the loop. Then, work a slip stitch join with the first single crochet. This completes the first round. Now, let's work the second round. Start by making 2 chains for the beginning. Then, in the same position as the base slip stitch, work 2 incomplete double crochets. You can weave in the ends. Then, yarn over and pull it through the loops on the hook. Consider this technique as a special DC3 together in 1. Next, work 3 chains. Then, work a DC3, together in 1 in the next stitch. First, work 3 incomplete double crochets. Then, yarn over, and pull it through all loops on the hook. 3 double crochets into the same stitch, and crocheted together is completed. From now on, we'll named DC3 together in 1. Continue refer to the diagram to complete this round. After finish the last DC3 together in 1, work 1 chain. Then, join it with the first special DC3 together in 1 by working a half double crochet. This completes the second round. Now, let's work the third round. Start with a special DC3 together in 1. Then, work 2 chains. Next, work 3 double crochets into the next base chain space. Then, work 2 chains more. Next, in the next base chain space, work 2 DC3 together in 1, with 3 chains between them. Next, refer to the diagram to complete this round. After finishing, the third round is completed. To complete the remaining rounds, break yarn and weave in ends. Then, refer to the diagram and work all the motif 4s required for the right front body. This concludes the tutorial for motif 4. Next, let's learn how to work motif 5. The working method is basically the same as motif 4, except work back and forth later. Please watch the demonstration below. First, refer to the diagram and complete the first round. Here, I have already worked it in advance. Now, let's work the second round. Start with a special DC3 together in 1. Then, continue working referring to the diagram. After the last DC3 together in 1 is completed, work 2 chains. Next, work a single crochet in base last single crochet. Then, work 2 chains more. Join with a slip stitch to the special DC3 together in 1. This completes the second round. Now, let's work the third row. Start by making 3 beginning chains. Then, work 2 DC3, together in 1 into the next base chain space, with 3 chains between them. Continue working referring to the diagram. Finally, work a double crochet into the base chain space. Then, in the base last DC3 together in 1. Work double crochet. This completes the third row. Now, continue working back and forth referring to the diagram. Finish the remaining rows of the motif 5. Pay attention to joining when working the last row. After finishing, leave a tail, break yarn, and weave in ends. This concludes the explanation for motif 5. When working motif 1, it needs to be joined with motif 4. The motif 1 on the right side needs to be joined along one edge with motif 4. The motif 1 on top only needs to be joined with the motif 1 below. The motif 1 above motif 4 needs to be joined with the two motif 4s above and below separately. And join it with the motif 1 on the right side. The method of joining motif 1 and motif 4 is the same as before. Just work a single crochet into these stitches. The corners are joined to corresponding corners, and the edges are joined evenly with about 5 times. Everyone, follow the method learned before to work and join these motifs together. Next, we'll learn the method for working motifs 1 with color change, which is on the right side of the motif 4 above. First, refer to the diagram. Work the rounds before the color change. After finishing, break the yarn. Now, let's demonstrate the method of changing colors. Here, I'll use a small sample for work with random round, just to show the method. Take out the yarn of the corresponding color. First, join the yarn in the chain space to the right of the slip stitch. Make 3 chains to start. Then, work 2 double crochets in the same space. Then, continue to refer to the diagram. Complete this round. After finishing, slip stitch with the beginning chain. Then, leave a tail and break the yarn. The tail from the beginning can be trimmed after weaving in a portion. The starting tail can be woven in a bit more. This tail can be woven in while crocheting later on. Next, using the same method, join new yarn and work the next round. This is the method for changing colors. Pay attention to the color changing motif 1 of the right front body. When working the last round, you need to join both motif 1 and motif 5 simultaneously. This concludes the explanation for changing colors with motif 1. Next, you should complete the last motif 1 on the right front body. Pay attention to the joining during the last round of working. This concludes the right front body. Next, let's learn about working the left front body. It also consists of the corresponding motif 4s. And 1 motif 6. The working and joining methods for motif 1 and F motif 4 are the same as before. The working method for motif 6 is similar to motif 2. Please refer to the diagram. Following the methods learned previously, work and join all the motifs first. This concludes the left front body. Now, the explanation for the front body is complete. Next, let's learn about the sleeves. There are 2 identical sleeves, divided into 6 parts in total. Let's start with the first part. Using the chain stitch cast on method, work back and forth along the foundation chain. Now, please watch the demonstration. Refer to the diagram. First, cast on the corresponding number of chains. In my sample, the number of stitches is fewer. After casting on, we'll work the first row. Start by making 3 beginning chains. Then, starting from the 5th stitch from the end, work DC 2 in 1. With a chain between them. Follow the diagram to complete this row. Omitting the repetitive parts here, leave a tail and cut the yarn. Weave in the ends on the wrong side. This completes the first row of the first part. Now, let's work the second row. Take out the yarn of the corresponding color. First, insert hook in the beginning chain of the first row, and join the yarn through the top 2 loops. Then, work a single crochet in the same stitch. Next, work another single crochet in the next stitch. A chain. Then skip a base stitch and work single crochet. Continue following the diagram to complete this row. After finishing, the second row of the first part is completed. Leave a bit of tail and cut the yarn. Weave in the ends on the wrong side. Now, let's work the third row. First, insert hook in the first single crochet of the second row, and pull the yarn through. Then, work a single crochet in the same stitch. Next, work 3 chain stitches. Work a single crochet in next chain space. Then, work 3 chain stitches. Work a single crochet in the next chain space. Continue following the diagram to complete this row. After finishing, leave a yarn tail, cut the yarn, and weave in the ends. This completes the third row of the first part. With that, the first part is completed. Now, let's learn how to work the second part. We'll use the chain cast on method. Work back and forth along the foundation. The new stitch technique used is TR2 together in 1. Please watch the demonstration below. First, cast on the corresponding number of chains. Similarly, I have fewer stitches in this sample. After casting on, let's work the first row. Start by making 1 turning chain. Then, starting from the second stitch to the end, work 6 single crochets in each base chain. followed by 1 chain. Skip a base chain. Work 5 single crochets in each base chains. Continue to follow the diagram to complete this row. After finishing, leave a tail, break yarn, and weave in ends. This completes the first row of the second part. Now, let's work the second row. Take out the yarn of the corresponding color. First, join the yarn on the first base single crochet. Then make 3 beginning chains. Next, in the same stitch as the join, work 1 treble crochet. This treble crochet and the beginning chains count as a special T are 2 together in 1. Then work 2 chain stitches. Next, in the same stitch, work a T are 2 together in 1. Start by working 2 incomplete treble crochets. Then yarn over and pull it through all the loops on the hook. In this way, a work a T are 2 together in 1 is completed. Next, in the next base chain space, work 3 T are 2 together in 1. Work 2 chains between them. After finishing, take a look. Consider the stitches worked into this chain space as one cluster. Continue to follow the diagram and complete this row. After completion, leave a tail, break yarn, and weave in ends. The second part's second row is completed now. Next, let's work the third row. First, join the yarn on the special T are 2 together in one of the second row. Then, make 2 chains to start. Next, work 3 double crochets into the next base chain space. Continue to follow the diagram and complete this row. After finishing, the third row is completed. Next, you should follow the diagram and complete the remaining rows. Pay attention to the rows in the latter part. You'll need to join the yarn and start working from the wrong side. Next, you should follow the diagram. Complete the remaining rows. With that, the second part is concluded. Now, let's working the third part. This part begins by joining the yarn at the starting point of the second part. Please watch the demonstration below. First, let's work the first row. Position the starting point of the second part facing up. Then start from the same insertion point as the last single crochet of the first row. Pick up the remaining 2 strands to join the yarn. Make 3 beginning chains. Then, work a treble crochet in the same joining position. One chain. Followed by TR2 together in one. After that, work a cluster in next space chain space. Once done, break yarn, and weave in the ends. This completes the first row of the third part. Next, you should follow the diagram and completed the first 5 rows. After the first 5 rows, work the 6th row. This row needs to be connected to the first part. Here, I'll demonstrate the method of joining. Take out the first part and join the yarn from the wrong side on the last single crochet of the first part. Then, work 2 chains. Next, in the last single crochet of the last row of the third part, work a single crochet. Insert from the right side to the wrong side of the motif. And work a chain. Then, in the corresponding chain space of the first part, work a single crochet, followed by a chain. Next, work a single crochet in the chain space of the third part. Followed by a chain. Let's take a look. The connection work in the corresponding chain spaces of the first part and the third part, with chains crocheted in between. Continue working referring to the diagram. After the last single crochet, work another chain. Then, join it with the first single crochet of the third row of the first part, using a slip stitch. Leave a tail and break the yarn. This completes the 6th row. Weave in the ends on the wrong side. The first and third parts are now connected. The crocheting and joining methods for the following parts are basically the same as those for the second and third parts. The crocheting method for the final part is basically the same as the first part. The joining method is also the same as the previous ones. Now, you can follow the methods learned earlier and refer to the diagram to complete these parts. Pay attention to changing yarns during the working. Once all parts are worked, join the sleeves together. Fold the sleeves with the right sides facing each other. Then join them along the side seam. Next, I'll demonstrate the joining method using a sample. Take out the sleeves. Fold it with the right sides facing each other. Start joining from any end. I'll start working from the first part. If the edge is a double crochet, insert the hook through the entire stitch. For a beginning chain, insert the hook through the entire chain. Make one chain to start. Then, work a single crochet in the same placement, followed by 3 chains. Space them out a bit. Then, insert the hook and work another single crochet. Followed by working 3 chains more. Continue spacing out and working single crochets. Let's take a look. The connection is hooked through the side seam. Work single crochets and chains. The distance between spaces and the number of chains can be adjusted, as long as the fabric lays flat after working. Follow this method to finish joining the sleeve. After completing, leave a tail, break yarn, and weave in ends. This way, the sleeve is joined. One sleeve is now completed. Next, you can follow the same method to work the other sleeve. The sleeve section completed.